Hi, everyone.
Hi, Flynn.
Miss Lynn.
How's everyone doing?
Alhamdulillah. Miss Lynn, can you please see where I messaged you?
My phone is blowing up, Abdallah. The only thing, after this session is over, I will go check Microsoft Forms.
Yeah, Miss Lynn.
Wait, I'm talking.
Okay.
It ended at 12 o'clock. If it took the other students' quizzes, I will not accept the ones that were late. You know why this happened? I shortened the time this week. Apparently no one read it because of all the cheating going on. And if it's cheating this week, next week you'll only have 25 minutes. I was told that this class, there was no cheating done. Surprise, stop blowing up my phone. You should be in the session.
Miss, I couldn't submit my
know,
quiz on time.
Afid, I got your message.
I sent it
All
on
right.
12.
Let's go to the Odyssey. It's page 1203 in this book, but I think it's different in your book. Anyhow, what I want to cover with you on the very first page, if you will notice for each of the books, for the Odyssey, book 1, 5, 9, there is a little overview for each book that we will read in this unit. Pay very close attention and make sure that you read all of the side notes, guys, okay? All right, in book 1, we're already on book, I think it's 9 in class. So if y'all have not read this, you need to get busy. Book 1 is A Goddess Intervenes, and it starts out by saying, "Sing in me, muse, and through me tell the story of that man skilled in all ways of contending, the wanderer, harried for years on end, after he plundered the stronghold on the proud height of Troy. He saw the townlands and learned the minds of many distant men, and he weathered many bitter nights and days in his deep-hearted sea, while he fought only to save his life, to bring his shipmates home. But not by will nor valor could he save them, for their own recklessness destroyed them all. Children and fools they killed and feasted on the cattle of Lord Helios, the sun. And he who moves all day through heaven took from their eyes the dawn of their return. Of these adventures, Muse, daughter of Zeus, tell us in our time. Lift the great song again. You also make sure that you read these. It tells you here the story of Odysseus begins with the goddess Athena's appealing to Zeus to help Odysseus, who has been wandering for 10 years on the seas to find his way home to his family on Ithaca. While Odysseus has been gone, his son Telemachus has grown into a man, and Odysseus' wife Penelope is being besieged by suitors that want to marry her, okay? Why do they want to marry her? Because they know that her husband was very rich. So of course they want to take over his wealth. The suitors have taken up residence in her home, and they are constantly feasting on the family's cattle, the sheep, the goats. They dishonor Odysseus and his family. Taking Athena's advice, Telemachus travels to Pylos for word of his father. Meanwhile, in Ithaca, the suitors plot to kill Telemachus when he returns. All right, are there any questions so far? Book 1. Everyone understand? I'll take that as a yes. All right, book 5 is about Calypso. Who here had questions? Everyone understands?
Yes.
Okay. You need to make sure you know how many years Calypso kept Odysseus, and you need to know all about this, okay? What do you notice about this picture? Anything strange? What's the predominant color?
White.
What does white mean?
Peace.
Pure. Was Calypso pure?
No,
Right. Why?
because she kept Odysseus as like a hostage for many years,
That's
and he
exactly
already had a
right.
wife.
You're exactly right, Farah. Good job.
Thank you.
Hannah, you have a question?
No, I wanted to answer.
Oh, okay. All right, so it tells us here all about Calypso in this book, book 5. Did everyone finish reading this book? Is there anyone that has not read it? Okay. All right, then we come to book 9. This is called New Coast and Poseidon's Son. In book 6 to 8, Odysseus is welcomed by King Alcinous, who gives a big banquet in his honor. That night, the king begs Odysseus to tell who he is and what has happened to him. So in books 9 through 12, Odysseus relates to the king all of his adventures. And here he starts out by saying, I am Laertes' son. What shall I say first? What shall I keep until the end? The gods have tried me in 1,000 ways, but first my name, let that be known to you. And if I pull away from pitiless death, friendship will bind us, though my land lies far. I am Laertes' son, Odysseus. Men hold me formidable for guile in peace and war. This fame has gone abroad to the sky's rim. In other words, he's become famous everywhere. My home is on the peaked sea mark of Ithaca, under Mount Neon's wind-blown robe of leaves in sight of other islands. And the following are names of different islands. Dulcium, Seine, wooded Zacynthus, Ithaca. The one you have to be concerned about is Ithaca. This is the one, this is Odysseus island, sorry. Ithaca being most lofty in that coastal sea and northwest, while the rest lie east and south. A rocky isle, but good for a boy's training. I shall not see on earth a place more dear, though I have been detained long by Calypso, loveliest among goddesses, who held me in her smooth caves to be her heart's delight. At Circe of Aea, the enchantress desired me and detained me in her hall. So we already know 2 goddesses have kept Odysseus, okay? But in my heart, I never gave consent. Where shall a man find sweetness to surpass his own home and his parents? In far lands he shall not, though he find a house of gold. In other words, he's saying that he will never find the same other than what his own home has. The only thing he has found in faraway lands And he uses the word gold, which means like treasures. You'll discover he takes many things, okay? All right, Bamika, will you start reading, please? Does anyone have any questions?
Miss Lynn, okay, I will
Yes.
start reading. Miss Lynn, I have a question. My
Yes.
Facebook was not working. I did not see the
I can't hear you.
my Facebook was not working and I did not see the post. I didn't know that the quiz will be submitted at 12 o'clock.
Yes,
I thought
apparently.
it was at 05. So
No,
I
but
was
wait. It's been on SMS this whole week, not on Facebook. I put it on Facebook today. But the time has been on SMS the whole week. You weren't the
hope
only
that
one. I think there were many that didn't read it.
Yes, I didn't read it on the assignment.
Okay, I
day.
don't want to talk. I don't want to speak about the quiz right now. That time for this week was done for a certain reason, because so many in this class are cheating. And every week that you cheat, I'm cutting it down by 5 more minutes. Feel free to complain because I have proof for every single one of you that cheated. I don't want to call your name, but I will call your name. I don't have a problem at all. I am shocked at some of you. The second week of school or the first week, Bamika told me herself, this class is not known for cheating. Well, apparently other teachers didn't ever notice it. I've never seen a class, you cheat more than grade 10. If you cannot do grade 9 work without cheating, you don't belong in grade 9. And that's all I have to say. Now, if you want to continue with the lesson, stay in the session. If not, leave. All right, Bamika, would you read?
Yes. What of my sailing then from Troy? What of those years of rough adventure, weathered under Zeus? Odysseus explained that soon after leaving Troy, he and his crew land near Ismarus, the city of the Cyclones. The Cyclones are allies of Trojans and therefore enemies of Odysseus. Odysseus and his crew raid the Cyclones, robbing and killing them until the Cyclonian army killed 72 of Odysseus' men and drives the rest out to the sea. Delayed by a storm for 2 days, Odysseus and his remaining companions then continued their journey.
Okay, stop 1 minute. Abdallah, how many men did Odysseus start out with?
Uh, 72.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, no.
Adam. Adam, can you hear me? Farah, do you know? Farah Malab?
Yes, Miss Lynn. When he went, he took 12 soldiers with him.
No, when he first started on the journey, do you remember how many men he started with on the entire journey? Does anyone remember?
No, Miss Lynn, I'm sorry.
Yes,
Okay.
I know.
How many, Hannah?
Jana.
Oh,
720.
yeah. Was it 720 or 712? I don't remember. 20? Okay, thank you. Good job.
You're welcome.
Go back
Yes, it was
and
20,
read.
720.
Guys, go back and read. You have to keep up with the math throughout this story. Okay, go ahead, Bamika.
Okay. The Lotus Eaters. I might have made it safely home that time, but as I came round Malea, the current took me out to sea, and from the north a fresh gale drove me on, past Cythera. 9 days I drifted on the teeming sea before dangerous high winds Upon the 10th, we came to the coastline of the lotus eaters, who live upon that flower. We landed there to take on water. All ships' companies mustered alongside for the midday meal. Then I sent out 2 picked men and a runner to learn what race of men that had land sustained. They fell in soon enough with lotus eaters who showed no will to do us harm, only offering the sweet lotus to our friends. But those who ate this honeyed plant, the lotus, never cared to report, nor to return. They longed to stay forever, browsing on that native bloom, forgetting of their homeland. I drove them, all 3 wailing, to the ships, tied them down under their rowing benches, and called the rest. All hands abroad, come, clear the beach, and no one taste the lotus, or you lose your hope of home. Filling in to their places by the raw locks, my oarsmen dipped their long oars in the surf, and we moved out again on our seafaring.
Okay, so summarize this part here that you read.
They were on their way finding their home, but then they found the lotus eaters. These lotus eaters, it's an island, I think, and it has a very sweet a very sweet flower, and they always offered the sweet lotus to their friends. They offered sweet lotus to their friends, and the people, when they went there, they didn't want to leave because it was so good. They didn't want to go back home. So he was angry because they didn't want to go back, and he wanted to go back. So they told them that he's going back
Why didn't they want to go back?
because the land it had sweet lotus
What's
and
that
a honey
mean?
plant. A honey plant.
What does that mean, Bumika?
That it was a good land, and it was very nice.
Hannah Hanning, is it a good land?
Yes, Miss Lynn.
Where the lotus eaters are, is this a good place?
No,
Why?
because it was a harsh place to live in.
Okay, Afaduta, tell us why.
Because it has the sort of flower that everybody will eat, will forget their homeland.
Why? What's wrong with these flowers? What are they?
It's drugs, I think.
Yes, it's drugs. Then I sent out 2 picked men and a runner to learn what race of men that land sustained. They fell in soon enough with lotus eaters who showed no will to do us harm, only offering the sweet lotus to our friends. But those who ate this honeyed plant, the lotus, never cared to report nor to return. They wanted to stay there forever, browsing on the native bloom, forgetful of their homeland. I drove them, all 3 wailing, to the ships and tied them down under their rowing benches. And I called the rest, all hands aboard, come, clear the beach, and no one taste a lotus, or you will lose your hope of home. Falling into their places by the rowlocks, my oarsmen dipped their long oars in the surf, and we moved out again on our seafaring. The lotus plants is drugs that she gives them, okay?
Does she put drugs in it?
No, it's a plant. It's a lotus flower that grows on water.
Why they eat it?
because it tasted sweet like honey. He tricked them.
Okay. Yes, yes. I
Okay.
understand.
All right. The Cyclops. Let's see. Jenna, would you read about the Cyclops, please?
Yes, Muslim. The Cyclops. In the next land we found were Cyclops, giants, lotus
Jana,
without...
Jana, one second, baby. Let me just
Yes.
point something out. In the next land we found were Cyclopes, okay? Cyclopes is the whole group. Cyclops is one of them, is singular. The Cyclopes is plural. Does everyone understand?
Yes,
Okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Jenna.
no problem. In the next land we found were Cyclopes, giants, lotus without a law to bless them. Louts. Okay. In ignorance, leaving the footage of the earth in mystery to the immortal gods. They neither blow, nor sow by hand, nor till the ground, though grain, wild wheat and barley grows
Barley.
untended, and wine grapes in clusters, ribbon in heaven's rain. Cyclopes have no muster and no meeting, no
Consultation.
consultation or all tribal ways, but each one dwells in his own mountain cave, dealing out rough justice to wife and child, indifferent to what the others do.
Okay,
Across the bay.
Jana,
Okay.
stop for 1 second,
Yes.
baby. All right,
Okay.
see if you can explain this part right here that you read.
Me?
Yes.
I didn't understand.
Okay, who can explain it? No one? Hannah, Hanny?
Yes, it explains that the Cyclops, they they um they eat wheat and barley and wine grapes, and they live in mountain caves,
Okay.
and they have wrath justice of wife and child.
Okay. All right,
This-
Hannah, can you add
Yes.
anything, Hannah Yasser?
Yes, they were rogues without any laws they live by. Each of them, they didn't live in like they didn't live in a whole group as a Cyclops, but each had his own family or lived alone,
Okay.
and they had their own different cultures or like ways in life.
Okay, in the next land, so you already should know how many lands this is they're going to, all right? This is where the Cyclopes live. First, they are giants. Second, get a dictionary and look up louts and see what kind of a person that is. And it tells you they had no laws. They lived as they wanted to live, and it's not in a good way, okay? They're ignorant people. Now, the mystery is this. All of this, the grain, the wall wheat, the barley, the wine grapes, all of that grows in plentiful abundance, okay? However, the Cyclopes are so lazy, they don't grow any of this. It just happens to grow on its own, okay? Because they are too lazy to plow the fields or sow by hand. If you don't know what it means, look it up, okay? They have no muster, no meeting, no consultation, or even any tribal ways. Each one lives in a cave by themselves, okay? Unless they live with their wife or child, but they don't, and they're very, very cruel to their wife and children, okay? Wives and children, sorry.
Are they all giants?
Huh?
Are they all giants?
Yes, they're all, the Cyclopes are all giants, okay?
Okay.
Don't forget to go back and find out who the Cyclopes parents are, okay? Next it says, across the bay from the land of the Cyclopes was a lush, deserted island. Odysseus and his crew landed on the island in a dense fog, and they stayed there for many days, drinking wine and eating goats and just observing the mainland where the Cyclopes lived. However, on the third day, Odysseus and his company of men set out to learn if the Cyclopes were friends or foes. Okay. All right, Adam, would you read, please?
Miss,
Yes.
when the young dawn with fingertips of rose came in the east, I called my men together and made a speech to them. Old
Okay,
shipmate,
well, Adam, who is when the young dawn with fingertips of rose? Who is that? Who can tell me? Hannah Yasser? Hannah?
Zeus?
No. What rises in the east?
the sun?
The sun.
Yes.
The sun?
Yes. Okay, go ahead, Adam.
You said who, so I was like, so I got
No,
confused, sorry.
Adam, go ahead.
Okay. Old shipmates, friends, the rest of you stand by. I'll make the crossing in my own ship with my own company and find out what the mainland natives are. For they may be wild savages and lawless, or hospitable and God-fearing men. At this I went aboard and gave the word to cast off by the stern. My oarsmen followed, filling into their benches by the rowlocks, and all in the line dipped oars in the grey sea. As we rowed on and nearer to the mainland, at one end of the bay we saw a cavern yawning above the water, screened with laurel, and many rams and goats about the place inside a sheepfold, made from slabs of stone earth fast between tall trunks of pine and rugged towering oak trees. A prodigious man slept in this cave alone, and took his flocks to graze afield, remote from all companions, knowing none but savage ways. A brute so huge he seemed no man at all of those who eat good wheaten bread, but he seemed rather a shaggy mountain reared in solitude. We beached there, and I told the crew to stand by and to keep watch over the ship. As for myself, I looked my 12 best fighters and went ahead. I had a good skinful of that sweet liquor that Eu- Eunuch's son Maron had given me. He kept Apollo's holy grief at Ismarus. And for kindness we showed him there, and showed his wife and child. He gave me 7 shining golden talents, perfectly formed, a solid silver wine bowl, and then this liquor, 12 two-handled jars of brandy, pure and fiery. Not a slave in Maron's household knew this drink. Only he, his wife, and the storeroom mistress knew. And they would put one cupful ruby colored honey spoon in 20 more of water, but still the sweet scent hovered like a fume over the wine bowl. No man turned away when cups of this came around. A wine skin full. I brought a monk and victuals in a bag, for in my bones I knew some towering brute would be upon us soon. All outward power, a wild man, ignorant of civility.
Okay, I summarize what you read.
Okay, uh, that that here he is in his boat or ship rowing till he arrives to the mainland, and he found a cave where a prodigious man had once slept alone, and he took all his flock or cattle to a field to, also remote from anybody. But he didn't know anybody except that there was a huge brute that he didn't look like a man at all, of those who eat good bread that is made of wheat. But he also looked like a shaggy mountain reared in solitude. When they arrived there, he told his crew to stand by and watch the ship or scout for its area. But the captain took his 12 best fighters and went ahead to explore the area. He had a lot of liquor that filled his goat skin, which he had received by Manon. He kept Apollo's holy grove at Ismarus and showed him there.
I don't, everyone don't get confused here. Make sure you understand this part. Okay, go ahead.
Uh, when he showed him there, he gave him 7 shining golden talents, perfectly formed, a solid silver wine bowl, and then the liquor that he has in his goat skin. It's about 12 two-handled jars of brandy fiery. But in Maron's house, nobody knew about this drink except him, his wife, and the storeroom mistress. They would put one cup of it, ruby color, and they would uh, they put in 20 more of water, but its sweet scent still filled the area and hovered like a fume over the wine bowl, and nobody would refuse these cups when they were represented.
Okay,
Okay.
what happened here?
He brought all his tools in a bag because his instincts told him that there would be a brute that would surprise them pretty soon. So he told all his men to get ready in case of something. A brute, ignorant of severity, comes and attacks them.
Okay, so he took the wine skin full of wine and some food in a bag because Odysseus felt like something, they were going to come upon something, okay? He said, I knew some towering brute would be upon us soon. All outward power, a wall man, ignorant of civility. Remember, these people are ignorant, okay? He said, we climbed then briskly to the cave, but Cyclops had gone afield to pasture his fat sheep. So we looked around at everything inside. A drying rack that sagged with cheeses, pens crowded with lambs and kids. You know what a kid is here? Hello?
Yes, Miss Fan.
Does anyone know what a kid is here? Each in his class, firstlings apart from middlings, and the dewdrops of newborn lambkins, pinned apart from both, and vessels full of whey were brimming there. bowls of earthenware and pails for milking. My men came pressing round me, pleading, why not take these cheeses, get them stowed, come back, throw open all the pens and make a run for it. We'll drive the kids and lambs aboard. We say, put out again on good salt water. Ah, how sound that was. Yet I refused. I wished to see the caveman, what he had to offer. No pretty sight it turned out for my friends. We lit a fire, burnt an offering, and took some cheese to eat, then sat in silence around the embers waiting. When he came, he had a load of dry boughs on his shoulder to stoke his fire at supper time. He dumped it with a great crash into that hollow cave, and we all scattered fast to the far wall. Then over the broad cavern floor, he ushered the ewes he meant to milk. He left his rams and he-goats in the yard outside and swung high overhead a slab of solid rock to close the cave. 24 four-wheeled wagons with heaving wagon teams could not have stirred the tonnage of that rock from where he wedged it over the door sill. Next, he took his seat and milked his bleeding ewes. A practice job he made of it, giving each ewe her suckling, thickened his milk, then into curds and whey, sieved out the curds to drip in withy baskets, and poured the whey to stand in bowls, cooling until he drank it for his supper. When all of these chores were done, he poked the fire, heaping on brushwood. In the glare, he saw us. Strangers, he said, who are you and where from? What brings you here by seaways, a fair traffic? Or are you wandering rogues who cast your lives like dice and ravage other folk by sea? We felt a pressure on our hearts in dread of that deep rumble and that mighty man. But all the same, I spoke up in reply. We are from Troy, Achaeans blown off course by shifting gales on the great South Sea, homeward bound, but taking routes and ways uncommon, so the will of Zeus would have it. We served under Agamemnon, son of Atreus. The whole world knows what city he laid waste, what armies he destroyed. It was our luck to come here. Here we stand, beholden for your help, or any gifts you give, as custom is to honor strangers. We would entreat you, great sir, have a care for the gods' courtesy. Zeus will avenge the unoffending guest. He answered this from his brute chest unmoved. You are a ninny, or else you come from the other end of nowhere telling me, mind the gods. We Cyclopes care not a whistle for your thundering Zeus, or all the gods in bliss. We have more force by far. Remember, I told you to go back and find out who his parents are, especially his father. I would not let you go for fear of Zeus, you or your friends, unless I had a whim to. Tell me, where was it now you left your ship? Around the point or down the shore, I wonder? He thought he'd find out, but I saw through this and answered with a ready lie. My ship? Poseidon, Lord, who sets the earth a tremble, broke it up on the rocks at your land's end. A wind from seaward served him, drove us there. We are survivors, these good men and I. Neither reply nor pity came from him, but in one stride, he clutched at my companions and caught two in his hands. This lets you know how